Welcome to another DorkLair collecting live stream. We've got a little short time with our friend Jeremy here tonight. And how you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Larry, how you doing?
Doing all right. Glad you guys are doing well. Excited to be back on a regular schedule. This is 2 in a row for me, so
Yeah.
I don't know. It must be hormonal. I don't know.
Yeah, we're kind of like hitting our stride here a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so Jeremy, we're going to talk a little bit of the dragon. But let's start off real quick with some recent pickups. Larry, how about you?
Actually, up until today, I only had one thing. You had one of the Constructicons a couple weeks ago. So the first wave of Age of the Prime stuff is starting to hit. It wasn't supposed to start hitting until May, but that first wave is out there. So the other day I picked up Solus Prime, which even though it's the first of the primes in this wave, it's the second one to have been released. They released Vector Prime last year in the Legacy Collection. I don't know if they're going to do a re-release or repaint, repackaging. I'm not sure. But I was very excited today. They also had Armada Red Alert, which I decided to forego. I'm not picking that up. And they had the Waspinator from Transformers Animated, which is a redeco and remold of the Bumblebee from Legacy line. But then today I found 2 of the aerial bots, Air Raid and Slingshot. So those were in today, and then also
like staggered releases, like the Constructicons. Or
so the
all
first, out? No, they're going to stagger just like the Constructicons. So it's supposed to be these 2, and then according to the release schedule, it's what it had said was in May, it was supposed to be Slingshot and Air Raid, and then in let's see. Where is Age of the Primes aerial bot leader? It's a commander class. I think the commander class is supposed to come out in June or July, but with this stuff coming out 2 months early, I wouldn't be shocked to see because we weren't supposed to get Bone Crusher and Scrapper until May, and did you get one or both of those?
Both now. Well, the other one shipped.
Okay.
I had Scrapper early. Yeah. And then Bone Crusher just shipped. They were placed on the same pre-order.
Yeah.
From Entertainment Earth, but they shipped, I don't know, a couple weeks apart or something.
Well, one of the other things that came in was they did Gears and Bumblebee in the retro packaging, and those were on the same order. Gears shipped and came in, and Bumblebee is yet to ship. They also sent me a shipping notification for one of the other Prime, the white one. And then, just like always, there's either going to be a Hulk Hogan or an Optimus Prime, and I picked up 2 Hulk Hogans. They did a rerun of the Ultimate line, and this is his WrestleMania 3 version. They did a WrestleMania 3 version, but it was back when they weren't doing the cloth tops. They were doing the plastic tops, and the skin was pale. So this is a superior version in every way. And then they did the 1986 era with the white trunks. He wore this a couple of times. The one that I primarily remember was when he fought Nikolai Volkov on Saturday Night's Main Event. He was in the white. And when he wears the white and the blue, it always sticks out to me because he's typically red and yellow. Oh, one other thing.
Well, he's getting that. We had a 10 membership gift go out.
Speaking of blue,
hold on one second, Larry.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say while you were grabbing that, we did get 10 gift memberships. I think I counted 135 members, so that would put us at 145, which is the highest we've ever been on memberships. It always goes up and down. And then, oh crap, it's Frieza. Hey, Jeremy, how about a Griffin Legion mount?
That's a callback to last night where instead of using the dragon as my example, I said Griffin and immediately realized that everyone was going to think that I was like dropping some secret information, and it was just making an error during live streaming. But
too late, man. It's out there now. You can't get it back.
Now you got to fast track.
I guess we're going to have to do it.
So, the last thing, speaking of blue, a couple years ago, they did an SDCC 2-pack from the No Holds Barred movie. I have no use for Zeus, but I did get the Hogan version. Now I just have to order a little replica of the Andre 87 belt, which is what he won the second half of the movie, so I can get that right. But yeah, so it was a 3 Hulk Hogan week, so no more for a while. There's one ordered on Target from when he did his comeback in 2002, but I don't think that comes out till April sometime. So, but yeah, it was a fun week. I was really excited. Since you showed me that scrapper, I've been stopping in every Target and Walmart, hoping, that they would show up, because I had picked up Solus Prime, and I knew they were part of the same wave. So I was really happy to see those today. And since 2 times over here, I didn't cancel my pre-orders because I got to have the Gestalt, and I've got to have them separate. So
we got to talk Larry 2 times into buying 2 dragons over here.
Oh my gosh! Right. You know what? If I get a wrench from that rental property, that'd save me about $1,500 this month. But I don't see that happening, man. Yeah, it's a long process.
Jeremy, pickups?
Yeah, so I just got back from Toylanta, so. Unfortunately, most of the stuff that I got at Toylanta didn't come home with me because I flew, so it went instead with Cookie and George. But I do have a couple things that I got at Toylanta and a few other things. So I showed this last night on my show. We all have seen this. This is the Cosmic Legions Fisher Rice, but this was a tribute to an old Fisher Price Adventure People figure, and I have that figure loose, but I ended up finding a packaged version of it at the actual show. And these like vintage packages are just so incredibly cool. So to be able to have like these on display side by side, that is such a cool thing, right?
Yeah.
One other thing.
While he's up, we can all appreciate that awesome room.
And this will show kind of the eclectic stuff I collect. So I'm a huge Muppets and Sesame Street fan. I'm really excited for the new NECA Sesame Street line. I've got Ernie and Bert. Apparently, they just dropped the count as part of this haulathon thing or whatever they do at Target. Is that what it's called?
The haulathon, yeah.
Haulathon. I don't ever go to Target. I don't really ever go out shopping for stuff. So I was like, I'm going to have to wait to find it. But my friend Seth actually gifted this to me at Toylanta this weekend, knowing how much of a fan I am. So I came home with the count because he was small enough that he could go in my luggage.
Yep.
About a week ago, Mondo just very quietly dropped a bunch of old inventory on their website, a bunch of the Masters of the Universe stuff. I think Lion-O was put back up, and there was a Godzilla Safubi that I had really, really wanted by an artist called Jesse Hernandez, Urban Aztec. So I ended up picking up this. I had pre-ordered the King Ghidorah, and I really wanted this Godzilla to go with King Ghidorah, but it was selling pretty high on eBay, and I just wasn't going to pick it up. So when they put it back on the website for that price, I absolutely couldn't say no to that.
Those colors are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
They really are.
Absolutely cool. One more thing I'll grab because you got me excited now.
That room is ridiculous. He's echoing. The room is so big.
It's beautiful. Just look at the setup over there.
Yeah.
It's got an island in the middle and then D-tops running along the sides, right?
That's
that is awesome.
Yeah. So back there's 17 D-tops back there that's all my Legion stuff is back there. And then this part over here is where my desk is. That's my big shelf full of Glyos there. Over here, I've got all my Legions Con stuff and everything. So the one thing I'm going to work on this weekend is in the main room, I'm actually going to build an island. The island you see there is a bar. So I'm going to build an island beyond that to display stuff.
Right.
But the last thing I have is everyone who comes to the shows, whenever they come to the Horseman booth, if they see a giant Shogun Warrior in the back of the booth, they always know that it's mine because I've picked it up at the show. Always hunting down those vintage Shoguns. But recently, Bandai started reissuing some of them, which is super cool. So I ended up picking up this. I pre-ordered this on Big Bad Toy Store, and it's pretty much a replica of the original Great Mazinger Shogun Warrior, but it's super cool because it's like case fresh. Like you open it up and everything's super clean. All the stickers are intact. I still love the vintage ones, and I actually have this vintage one on display right on the side of this one. But being able to pick this one up with all the pieces in this kind of condition for like $200 is really, really cool.
So I had the Mazinger when I was a kid. One of my parents' friends' kids had it, and he was like 18 and he was too cool for toys. So he gave it to me. But I don't remember, since you have the vintage, the piece on the chest, I seem to remember the one I had, I don't think it was a protruding piece like that. It was a decal, I thought.
It was a sticker. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a couple different versions of it.
And the spaceship looks more detailed.
Yeah, and it comes out.
Oh, wow. So the old one didn't come out.
It didn't. So the one that we had in the US, it had the sticker on the front. The ship was fixed in.
Yep.
It didn't come with this big wing attachment.
Yeah, I didn't have the wing or the sword, but I had the finger missiles.
What they've basically done, what Bandai has done, is they've kind of like taken the best of multiple versions, the US one and the Japanese only releases, and they've worked them in almost to have like a, kind of an ultimate version of the release. So you get all of that stuff. So for us here in the US, it actually, to find a vintage version of this that has those parts, you're basically getting a vintage Japanese version, which is even tougher. So it's cool that they're making those available.
Yeah, we didn't have, obviously Mazinger was what they called it in Japan. It was Transorzy over here, but I've never seen that. My mother was friends with a lady who was from Malaysia, and she had lived in Japan and Saudi Arabia. They had a kid that was my age, and he had all kinds of toys from all over the world that he had acquired as they moved around before they came to the US and settled. And one of the things that he had this little, it was basically, you'd put this, I guess cassette is the best word, in it, and you'd look through it with light and you would turn it and it was a cartoon. And he had several different ones, and it was different Japanese properties. But I remember one of them was Mazinger, and that's how I knew the ship came out and it was a person and all that, because I'd never seen a cartoon or anything like that. But I always loved that. That's such a nostalgia piece for me. That's an awesome pickup.
Yeah. Super exciting.
I'll just share one thing here. And I've already started kit bashing with it. So this is this is two different recent Glyos figures combined. It's a Zoloid and one of the new Manglors, the Manglo skull. So this right here is that Manglo skull torso. And I just was bashing away and made this. So I have, I think, 3 different figures in this colorway. There's a fade-in, and then these 2 figures. So I was messing around with that. That was pretty much my only thing I got in the last week, I think. And I did want to mention that, speaking of Glyos, we do have a giveaway. So this is, Jeremy, you love these guys. This is the Biomasters. This is the mutant in the vampire colors. The paint is, like, I kind of regret not getting one myself. I might have to get one. Like, the paint, this is one of the more like elaborate paint jobs. It's really good. So this is a giveaway that was sponsored by viewer Cameron Miller. I don't know if Cameron is here right now. But yeah, he said, "Hey, I want to contribute," and so he picked this up and then sent it over. So
very cool.
That'll be today's giveaway. We'll do that. We'll do that after the Dragon Talk. Let's pull this up here. We only have 97, which is funny because used to be a lot, but we've been hitting in the 150s lately. But considering we're about to show something, that's pretty low. All right, let's see here. Okay, so final week, Jeremy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like there's a lot of momentum coming out of Toylanta last weekend. The buzz at Toylanta was just palpable. I mean, even before that, the week before that at MesquiCon, that was just such a cool get together, and we saw so many Legionnaires there. So many people that were like almost apologizing for not backing it yet, and they're like, "No, I'm just waiting for the first of the month, 1st of April, or the final week." But it was it was a good lead into Toylanta. Toylanta was a huge show, a lot of excitement there. And now that we're in the final week, I knew that the last couple days were going to be big because they always are for us on any pre-order. Mm-hmm. But the last few days have been really hot as well. We've been definitely climbing each day. We've still got a ways to go to get to, the top of that meter to get to the final stretch goal. But looking at the way that the pace is going and stuff, I'm feeling pretty darn confident.
Yeah, I was looking. Let me just pull this up real quick because it's going to get lost. Hedgehog with the $2 super chat. I still have my childhood Daimyo's Jumbo C9. Yep. I don't have a single toy from my childhood remaining in my collection. Like the moves and it just just nothing survived for me.
I was going to say, was it moving or I know a lot of my friends, whenever they got too old for toys, they just gave them away to cousins or got rid of them or, whatever.
Yeah, there was a move when I was 10 that really severed the line on a lot of it. But I was also at that age where I was more into like bikes and skateboards and, that kind of stuff, just because that's what everybody was doing.
Right.
But yeah, so thank you, Hedgehog. Okay, yeah, so Billy Bay said the Toylanta bump. Yeah. And so I was going to say, I was looking at the numbers, and over the last 3 days, I was comparing so the last 3 days would be the equivalent to day 5, 6, and 7. If you kind of think about the first week, and then you got to expect the last week's going to be kind of sort of a reverse of the first week, where it's going to build up towards the last day, whereas the first day started, it was huge, and then it starts coming down. And I was looking at the numbers for days, 7, 6, 5 versus, the day 1, 2, and 3 of the final week. And it was substantially more than those days. It was double. The numbers were basically double. And so if you kind of extrapolate that out, it's it might be on pace to unlock 4K.
It could. I mean, we always get a large percentage of our sales in the final weekend anyway. But because of the unique nature and the price point on this figure, I mean, it's really anyone's guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So many people, as I just mentioned, that I've talked to over the last few weeks, were just very open with the fact that they were waiting till the end because they didn't want the charge on their credit card any sooner than it had to be. And I absolutely understand that totally. Sentiment. So I'm expecting that Sunday is going to be an absolute bonkers day all day as I sit here and refresh those numbers to report on where we are in terms of stretch goals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And even if it just even if the last 4 days, it's basically 3.5 days left as of this morning's number. Even if the last 4 days did the same as the first 4 days, which I think it's going to do more because of the reasons you just said, and because of the trend you're seeing right now, that was 1,000 sold in the first 4 days. So that would put us at 27. Actually, let's put this up. It's at 2750 basically right now, or this morning, and so that would put us at 3750. Only 250 away from the 4K. And that's a high 3750 is a very, very high, I think, likelihood. So another 250 is not that crazy.
Definitely.
Blake's going big over here. 5,500 dragons.
Bless you, Blake. I hope you're right.
I know he likes the army build. Maybe he's planning something.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So recent unlocks.
Mm-hmm.
Benegar is
Yep.
fully unlocked. That was the most recent one at 2,500.
Yep.
Which
That came almost right out of Toylanta. Tuesday morning, we reported that.
Yeah, that is
huge.
One thing I've been saying to some people that have been kind of like a little underwhelmed by the 4K reveal is that like there's something to be said about the fact that you guys did this banger as the first unlock. Like not only is it like not only does it mean you guys want to hit that 2K, which was who knows if that was ever really a guarantee, right? But also like giving us like making sure we get this figure, right? Like even if nothing else unlocked, you get this. Like it's so cool that you guys put this one up front.
It's something substantial for a first unlock. It's not like some other companies whose names will go unmentioned that gave away, I don't know, patches for an unlock,
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. But yeah, it's a fantastic unlock.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things we did, you just mentioned, Bill, by betting on the fans and their support and moving Benegar into the base package and then unlocking the soft goods. We could have easily just been like, hey, we're going to stop the unlocks at 3,500 because we moved everything down. But I mean, we already had the meter, right? So might as well fill up that last spot. But, I mentioned before that we had talked about possibilities for these characters, and we had talked about a soldier character to pair with Sir Benegar because he was always going to be included, and we ended up deciding, you know what, we got too many other things going here, that the numbers just didn't work out, so we never got it past like the concept stage. But when we opened up that spot, we revisited that and said, okay, let's push that forward, let's make that happen. But realistically, if you think about it, we added an entire new figure into this without increasing the funding. We didn't say, okay, well, at 4,500, we'll give you that figure. So at the start of the campaign, if you got to 4,000, you got 2 figures with Beyithyrr. Now you get 3 if we can unlock Beyithyrr's Fury.
Yep, and this one also the accessories recently unlocked on this like earlier this week, right? So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we announced that actually on Legion's Lounge on Monday.
Oh yeah, that's right. And so this is the one that comes with the wings.
Yes.
And this is that ghoul. Oh man, like I love this ghoul body. This is such a great body. This is a really cool figure
for
here.
Sure. Yeah, the Ashen Zombie is really cool, especially with the 3 different heads that it's now going to come with.
Tony Carell must be new here because he's asking what brand is this? This is Mythic Legions. Mythic Legions. And they have a massive dragon campaign, which there's the size. These are 6 to 7 inch figures. So if you're not familiar with Mythic Legions, there you go. There's your perspective right there. Those are 6 to 7 inch figures.
And it should be noted that that's not a real photo. I mean, it's a real photo of all those items, but we Photoshopped those figures into the photo of Beyithyrr. So the sizing might be a little bit off.
Right. But it's probably pretty
close. Definitely close.
Yeah. So welcome, Tony. Dave Orkin says, welcome, Tony.
Hey, Dave.
Not new, just joined. No, not new, just joined the podcast. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So you were talking about this guy. You revealed this picture today.
Yeah. Beyithyrr's Fury. So last night on my live stream, Joe Vassapolo was actually at the studio putting some finishing touches on the 4,000 unlock. And we gave a bit of an early sneak peek of Beyithyrr's Fury on the live stream last night, which actually kind of had a little bit of a mixed reaction because, I mean, we genuinely were sharing a crappy cell phone photo that Joe took in poor lighting 30 seconds after he was done painting something.
Yeah.
But it was, in the spirit of just kind of having fun and being on the live stream. And you know us, we're always so open to, opening our doors and opening our studio and showing people a little bit about what we're doing. We were showing you some of the ingredients before the meal was fully baked. So it was definitely, I guess surprising, a little bum me out a little bit to see some of the reactions this morning. Because obviously people have opinions that, this might not be for everybody. But some of the comments were very much indicative of the fact that it wasn't a finished piece. And in retrospect, maybe we shouldn't have shown it, but it's ready to go now. We took all the final photos and stuff. So I shared this teaser earlier. That's a little snap of Beyithyrr's Fury with the shield he's going to have.
And the spear. That's a little
and the spear.
In the shot
you see that as well.
Yep. And here we go. So what are we gonna show now? What's the newness on the next image, Jeremy?
So last night during the live stream, Joe was sending me photos, and there was an alternate head for the character that I was really excited for. I really liked the way it looked, and we haven't shared it yet. We haven't shown it yet. We're going to share it with all the photos tomorrow. I was going to tease it a few hours ago. I was going to post it, but then when I realized I was going to join the show tonight, I said, well, let's save it. We'll show it on the live stream first, and then I'll reveal it after. And of course, it'll be part of the show tomorrow, but part of the reveal tomorrow. But I think it's a cool looking head. It's a different looking head for us. It uses existing parts, but there's also kind of a cool story behind those this head and why these characters wear them that will be revealed tomorrow as well. So go ahead. You get to see one of the alternate heads that Beyithyrr's Fury comes with.
Boom.
Oh, that's cool.
That thing's sweet.
Yeah, so this uses the Sir Elijah chainmail that's got the removable faceplates, but I really liked the idea of taking one of those faceplates and painting it like a silver battle mask.
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of like the Immortals from 300, or even what we did recently for Araya the Talonbearer, one of the characters in the Reign of the Beasts wave. So it's something we've done before, but I just think it's a cool look, and I really like the way that it builds out and fleshes out this figure. And again, there's a cool story element behind the different masks that he comes with.
I look forward to that. I was like just sort of contemplating like what that could be when you kind of sent me this early. That's so cool. I love that. Curtis with the $5 super chat says, last night a lot of folks proved they couldn't handle Teaser Tuesday.
No, it's a privilege. We definitely realized that Teaser Tuesday is not for everybody.
Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the reactions here. This looks amazing. Reminds me of Doom. Dave likes it. By the way, we haven't really said hi to the chat too much yet. So what's up, everybody? Brian,
it's funny. I've seen a number of people mentioning Doom. I didn't even think of that. I guess maybe it's the colors and everything.
Right, yeah.
But again, the first thing I thought about when we came up with this idea to do this was the Immortals from 300. That was the first thing I thought about. Yeah. And interestingly, I didn't even remember Araya until Eric was like, yeah, we just did that with Araya. And I was like, oh, you know what? We totally just did. I guess it's because I don't have that figure in hand yet. But Doom makes sense as well. I hadn't thought of that until now.
Yeah. You could totally, so me without Mew, we need him in silver armor. He's a kit bash away, a pop and swap away from doing something like that.
If you know our figures, you know that's what they're made for. That's extra parts.
That's like one of the things about this figure. For me, like when you look at the set and it's like, it's Benegar and it's a Ashen skeleton. Like, sure, you can do some pop and swaps there, but like not the kind of ones that I like to do, which are like color-based pop and swaps. But this, to me, with some of the colors from Benegar inverted and stuff, like this is, I'm all over this with I've been on the fence about like buying a second dragon maybe for, the extra figures. This is kind of pushing me towards it. I may end up getting a second one because there's zero chance I'm not going to have just up kit bashed these two. Like I got to have the actual figures on my shelves, but like I also want to have a kit bashed one. So like this is something that's pushing me over the edge on that for sure.
I will say this, tomorrow morning when I share the full photo set for Beyithyrr's Fury, when you see Beyithyrr's Fury next to Sir Benegar, because again, not only was that photo last night a quick, cell phone snap of an incomplete figure, it was a little bit out of context. When you actually see it next to Sir Benegar and you realize that, these characters were very much created to go together and the color choices were very deliberate so they complement each other. I think that maybe not everybody, there are some people that wanted a female dragon rider. So no matter what we do here, it's not a female dragon rider. So they're going to be bummed that it's not what they wanted. But I think that when you see this character next to Benegar, a lot of people are going to change their tune and say like, okay, yeah, that is actually darn cool.
I mean, even just the other kind of quick shot you shared this morning next to the elf, just like instantly, like people realize, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. Like I get what this thing is, and it's not like some flat mustardy yellow. It's gold,
Well, Bill, we've had that problem since wave one, right? Where figures like Sir Ignatius and Orange Steelhide, all these figures that have these metallic paint applications, they don't photograph very well. They're very, very difficult to photograph effectively to capture that color. So it's easy to look at them and say like, I heard someone say that it looks like a Marvel Legend, which I assume means unpainted plastic. And that's not a knock on Marvel Legends, but they're known. That's how they make toys. They've got they utilize plastic very well to get the color they want. This figure's not that at all, but I could see how that cell phone photo may have given that impression. So the photo we shared this morning next to the elf definitely fleshed that out more. And the photos that we're going to have tomorrow of the full set will finally tell the whole story.
I have a question that I heard come up. Now, I doubt you guys have even thought this far, but maybe you can share a little insight. Let's say, now we know the wings are the pauldrons with the wings are exclusive to this campaign. They're not going to be released outside of this campaign. But let's say it doesn't hit 4,000. Would you revisit this character, maybe different shoulder armor, and then like possibly put it out like as a single drop?
I don't actually
drop, but
I don't know. I can say we won't use the pauldrons. I mean, we definitely, but would we swap out the pauldrons and make it available? I mean, what I really want to say is we're not considering the potential of failure yet. Like we're not at the point where we're like, well, it looks like we're not going to hit it. So let's like look at our fallback plans.
Right. Yeah.
It sounds like I'm giving you a line, but it's actually true. We're so focused on the fact that we're going to make this and we're going as, I can't say his name.
Glyos.
Dude, I love that guy. But every time I hear them say his name, every time I hear someone say his name, it's Kent and he's yelling it. And I can't actually.
A lot of people just call him G. So that's an easy way out.
Okay. G. As G says, it's going to hit 4,000.
I think so too.
That's what we're focused on. So we'll see. If it doesn't hit that, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Blake back here with the 55. Honestly, I could see it blowing past 4K myself. I don't know if it would get to 55.
I can't imagine
it would have to do like 2,000 in one day.
Well, Bill, based on all the things you said about the tracking and what it did, first days and what it's been doing, I'm not hitting 4,000. That seems like the bottom would have to drop out.
Yeah.
Greg's throwing you under the bus here, Jeremy.
I've already said, I am trying to be as transparent as we realistically can. We do not have a stretch goal beyond 4,000. There's not something we've got in our back pocket that we're sitting on that if we get over that number, we're going to unleash. like I said, this particular figure, we had talked about it in concept. It wasn't like it was all prepared and ready and we just held it back. We did genuinely try to reveal everything right up front so fans knew what their options were and what they were getting into.
Yeah.
So I'd love to tell you that we're going to get to 5,000 and we've got a surprise for you, but we genuinely don't.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the original live stream and you guys were talking about what happens if you go past 4K. And you're like, we don't have anything. Like if it goes past 4K, we got to come up with something. And like, this is it. Like, this is what you came up with because the thing got bumped down. So in some ways, this is what would have been the 5K unlock, possibly, right?
I like this comment from Me Without Mew saying, as a cool, iconic joke, add a Legions patch at 5,000.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that would go over well. Oh crap! It's Frieza says, I love this. I thought it would originally get something like a Dragon Seer Monk or a knight like Ukzak. That would be a lot. That would be a large thing to add on,
It would be expensive because, as we had said before, part of the challenge with these stretch goals is when we hit a certain number and our unit cost comes down, we're trying to add something back in that's equivalent to that unit cost drop to bring the unit cost back up. So we're not making more money per individual item, but we're making more money because we're selling more units. That was our goal. To add an ogre scale figure in, those are more expensive and they take up a lot more room. Because remember, these are all going to be fully packaged. We're not just bagging these and like wedging them in between the dragon. So we've got to make room in this box for potentially 3 packaged figures. To add something like an ogre or a horse into that, logistically, it just was not feasible from a spacing and a price standpoint.
Will these be your traditional clamshell packaging?
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We might do something cool with the cards or whatever, but it's going to be the traditional kind of collector-friendly clamshells.
Nice. Cool.
I'm curious with how you guys are coming along on packaging, or are you that far into the process? Because that's one of the things that's always interesting to me with larger items, like when Grayskull came years ago, the Mondo stuff, Unicron. I'm always really fascinated by the way that kind of stuff's put together. Where are you guys in the process of doing that?
Yeah, so we're looking at a number of different options with the factory. Obviously protecting the items within, that's number one.
Right.
And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that. There's foam, there's different kinds of molded cardboard, there's folded cardboard. There's a bunch of different stuff that the factories presented us with. So we're running different tests with the factory on those options to, see what is going to be the most cost effective while also protecting the items within. So we've never done something of this size before, so it's definitely some new ground. But you just mentioned some of those other large items. That's one of the cool things is we're all collectors ourselves. So every one of us are like, well, my Mondo Battle Cat came like this, or my, Cat's Lair came like this. So it's been cool to draw on our own collections to see what some of the options are that we can bring back to the factory.
Dave has an important question. Is the dragon box going to fit through my front door?
Depends how big your front door is.
Dave's got a tiny front door.
Hey, that's a legitimate thing. I told Bill, I think I told you I was putting some flooring up in my attic so I'd have a place to store my boxes because for some reason I can't throw things away. And the Unicron box, it's not going to make it into the attic. Yeah, it's not happening. But yeah, that's one of the things my wife and I always talk about. She was a packaging design major for her undergraduate degree, and beyond supporting / enabling my habit, she's always interested when I get a really big piece. She's like, oh, let me see how they did whatever they do.
Yeah, it's going to be a big box. I mean, for sure.
Oh, sure.
Bamsta. When is the Bear due to release? Is that the end of this year still?
Yeah, sometime this year. So Bamster, you said no mention of him coming out soon. Actually, just last week on the afternoon show, Chris was showing a test shot of a couple different Reign of the Beasts figures, including Bodvar the bear. So that is progressing along very nicely. We don't have an update for that we can share that's like that's updated more than what we've said previously, which is mid to late this year.
And then the Dragon is tentatively scheduled for late 2026, right?
That's what we're hoping for. And what I've been saying is the Dragon is such a unique project because we're so much further along in the process than we typically would be for a figure like this, because we had to do so much engineering work with the studio. But at the same time, it's such a gigantic piece with so many unknowns, so many things we've never done before at this scale. So I don't want to come on here and say, oh, we're way ahead of the game. We're so much further than we've ever been. It's going to come out much, much sooner than expected, because I want to be realistic and say, hey, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to solve, and we will solve it, but we're still going to have to figure those things out. So as of right now, we're saying our goal is by the end of 2026.
Here's one. So this is Ryan Venich. Ventech. So he says, I want a skeleton dragon like Conibus is to the horse. So I do want to say that I made a prediction video back before the Necronominus wave came out, and I said there's no way they're going to do a skeleton horse, and then they made a skeleton horse. So right now I'm going on record saying there's no way they're going to make a skeleton dragon. So you guys extrapolate that.
You never know, man. If
Bill's trying to will it.
If Rage is right and we hit 5,500, that may just be the kind of energy we need and the push that we need to maybe do something aggressive like a skeleton dragon in the future.
Bill's reverse psyching it into existence.
I know you are holding off on the bio till tomorrow.
Sure.
But Kirby says, if you could put your lore hat on, how do you view Sir Benegar and Beyithyrr's Fury? Because they are so limited, they can't hold a large role in the lore, can they?
Large role doesn't necessarily mean unimportant role. So yeah, they're not going to be major characters like Artemis or Atlas or something like that. But that doesn't mean that they can't, again, like I just said, play a very important role in the story going forward.
Cool. Speaking of lore, I want to read you something, Jeremy. So we were throwing around the idea, you and I, of doing a recorded thing, and I was going to do like a slideshow for it and everything. But around the time of the reveal of the dragon originally and the opening up of the map and stuff, and just kind of more lore about that, I put together just a quick outline. Now, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. I'm just going to kind of read it to you.
Okay.
And I want you to, so this is what I see as a possible Mythic Legions timeline. And I want you to react with whatever you can.
Okay.
Obviously, like, you have lore you can't reveal yet or anything like that. But if there's anything that's like already out there in the known that this just doesn't jibe with, let me know.
Okay.
All right. So, my possible Mythic Legions timeline. I did post this. I don't think I made it as a post. I think I included it as a comment somewhere. But anyway, I'm calling the first one, the number one bullet, the first world. Okay, the first world exists with a ring of 5 continents surrounding a vast ocean. Each continent is its own realm, supported and protected each by one of the 5 pillars, some of which are ancient dragons, at least. A continent of forest, a continent of ice, etc. At some point, the 5 dragons slumber. Bullet number 2, Mythos. Helios and Selene arrive from what, for lack of a better term, I'm calling the universe, and they create the continent of Mythos in the vast ocean, the quote-unquote primal waters of this cosmogony, and populate it with their children. They create the great beasts and the various peoples of Mythos. The first great war, The resentment of Helios results in the creation of the Dark Four, and the first great war ensues. The great beasts and their peoples unite to defend the continent of Mythos. And I put a note here, to the people of the continent of Mythos, the entire world would be referred to, like considered to be Mythos. And then finally, the Dark Four are defeated and banished. And then the second great war, the Covenant of Shadows summons back the Dark Four, and the second great war ensues. During this war, something has awakened. And then the awakening of the five pillars, Beyithyrr awakens to discover this new continent at war, set upon by the Dark Four, and realizes this threat could reach beyond the continent of Mythos to the other continents, and decides to act. And that's where my timeline, my fanfic, I guess possibly timeline ends.
So you've got some things that you're pretty good on. You're pretty accurate on. There's other things you're way, way off on.
Okay.
One thing I'll tell you you're way off on is it seems like what you're saying is that during the Second Great War, which is when the Dark Four are, recalled, that something awakens, because we told the story about Beyithyrr flying over the Castle of Four Sides and seeing everything. It sounds to me like you're putting Beyithyrr during the Second Great War.
Yes. So that's not true.
That is not it. That is not it. Beyithyrr in all of this, that is going to be part of the second story arc. So the Second Great War has ended. Basically, Ashes of Agendor is that bridge between, it's going back to the First Great War and telling stories about that and everything. Yeah. But the modern part of Ashes of Agendor, where Shui is collecting those, that is in the aftermath of the Second Great War. That little snippet that we shared about Beyithyrr is some years in the future after that.
Okay. All right. See, in my mind, I was like wondering if the reason why things are in ashes is because dragons breathe fire down upon things.
Cool. So Ashes of Agendor, the reason it's called that is, and I don't know if I said this before, but I definitely mentioned it, if not super explicitly. When Paxus is recalled, because during the events of the First Great War, Paxus and his army, they're like taken off the field like immediately. The wizards of Basilia, they basically figure out a way that as soon as they make themselves known, they essentially banish them. They use time magic to basically create time loops where they were able to perfect their plan because they didn't have a lot of time to prepare. So they gave themselves time through time magic. They banished Paxus immediately, which means that in the First Great War, the Dark Four never really mobilized as a force, and they never had the full strength of all four fighting, and they were therefore defeated. When Paxus is recalled, the first thing he does is attack the Tower of Basilia and take it down. So they burn the tower in the library and all of that. So Ashes of Agendor is a direct reference to the fact that the library of Agendor has been burned to the ground during the events of the Second Great War.
So Paxus is a grudge holder. He holds a grudge.
He holds a deep grudge.
The time thing definitely sounds new to me. That's pretty cool. Back to Doom. Doom uses time magic.
Well, hey guys, I've taken up a lot of your time tonight. I know you have a normal show to run, and you brought me on to talk Dragon. So is it cool if I step out and I let you get back to normal?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on. That's a great reveal.
Absolutely, Larry. Thanks for having me.
We'll be seeing a lot of Jeremy this weekend. So
you will.
Yeah.
Bill, pleasure as always. I'll see you guys this weekend.
Bye, Jeremy.
Take care. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that thing doesn't hit 4K.
Yeah, it's some people are looking at the daily numbers and they're just saying, okay, it's just going to do that for the next 5 days or whatever, but it's going to keep exponentially going up. If you look at any of the Kickstarters, if you look at any, I guess some Kickstarters you've seen some.
Yeah, but anything like this crowdfunding,
they always shoot way up. The
last few days,
curve that goes way up in the end. So
now let me ask you a question about this. On this one, when you back it, did they charge your card immediately or on the last day of the campaign?
they charge it immediately. So
See,
like I paid on day one.
Okay, then I think they're going to have an even bigger bump than HasLabs.
Oh
because
yes,
HasLab doesn't charge you until the end of the campaign.
Yeah.
And I still waited to the last minute when that last Lio Kaiser. When I say I waited till the last minute, I'm talking about I always wait till the last day. I just do. I almost forgot. Like I literally ordered that thing at like 11:56.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah, if they charge upon clicking the button,
a lot of people, I mean, and there's going to be flippers. Yep. There's going to be flippers who buy this and they have no reason to, in fact, they have more reason to wait because they want to see all the unlocks and determine how many more extras they might buy. But there will be people who are going to part this thing out and it, you know, like there's, it's going to.
So what does the total cost end up being if you get all 3 packages?
About $1,000. So it's $550 for the dragon,
right?
$150 for one set and $150 for the other set. So it's $850 plus your tax plus shippings. You know, like all 3 are separate boxes. So the shipping when you buy all 3 is a lot because it's 3 massive separate boxes being shipped out. If you buy just the dragon, I think for me when I like looked at what it was, it came to about like 6 something, somewhere in this like 630 or something like that. It was like $40 shipping and then whatever the tax is for Massachusetts on $550.
So you tell me if I'm speaking out of school here because it seems to me I don't know that much about the secondary market for this particular. All I know is Rhaegor's unattainable. That's all I know about the secondary market. Seems to me like folks are not going to have any trouble if they decide to buy these to flip them to making more than their money back. There's going to be a lot of people that want this. They just are not going to have the cash at hand.
Yeah, and I think like even if you wanted the dragon and you're like, man, it's $550 is a lot. You're going to
probably part out the figures
get 3 figures.
Yep.
Part out, like you could probably get $300 back for
at
those
least
3 figures.
Absolutely.
You know? So
yeah. Because I remember when
that brings it down to $250.
Yeah, because I remember when the Razor Crest dropped, that carded Grogu and Mandalorian, or was it? No, it was Grogu and the Jawa.
It was Mandalorian. No, it was Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
I thought Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the carded.
He came in. Yeah, the carded was the child, and the Jawa. And the Mandalorian came in a little bag. But I remember those carded figures when that thing first dropped. They were going for like $80 or $90 a piece.
Yeah.
Something silly like that.
They came back down, but like for a while they were. Because I remember I wanted extra Jawas because I have a Jawa horde and like I never pulled the trigger on it back then. I should probably go back because I'm pretty sure they've dropped in price.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. If you
when they blow up the Razor Crest, just as blow it up in the show, just as the campaign's in, and that'll quell demand a little bit.
Yeah. If you wait till 11:56 on Sunday night, you'll be SOL on the dragon. So it ends at 11.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it ends at 11. And Brian Brink does the meter. Actually, maybe we could pull this up. It's pretty cool. So he does.
Can I just say his avatar is the coolest one I've seen? BR squared. That's freaking brilliant. I love that.
Let me see it. Oh yeah.
BRB. I love that. That's great.
All right. So let's go to this and let me drop it over here. Beyithyrr tracking. So he does these cool graphs. So let me share this tab here. Share screen. Brian Brinks. And so StreamYard is doing this weird thing now. I know Curtis is here, where you can't just replace. It's like an extra step to put something in. You got to remove the thing first and then put it in. So this is the dragon, right? The red line is the dragon, and then the other lines are the other pieces. And so what you're seeing here is, the beginning of it. Actually, let me go here. You can see my cursor. So the beginning of it shoots way up like this. Yeah. That's 5. I think right here. It was the first day. It was like a little over 500, right? So the last day is going to do a similar thing. Like
Yeah.
over here, it's going to go way up.
Yeah.
And like that could be 1,000 on the
Oh,
last
yeah.
day. You
It
know,
could be.
yeah. But this is cool. So if anybody wants to see it, it's geekdadlife.com, like the like the YouTube show.
I love
Geek Dad
folks
Life.
that put stuff
Check it
like
out.
this together.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It really is.
And they have all the old HasLabs and everything on there,
Mhm.
so pretty cool.
Excuse me.
And yeah, Kirby, I got the Malignancy, which is so Malignancy, Larry, is there's a whole bunch of different Facebook Mythic Legions Cabal groups.
Right.
There's the Skeleton group, there's the Knights group, there's all different groups, and there's the Goblin group called the Malignancy.
I love the names that people come up with for these groups. These are just great.
Yeah. I wish. Yeah, Store Horsemen. So the Horsemen had a problem with PayPal years ago where they held back their money or something in some situation, and they were like, "Screw you, we're not using you ever again." So that's why they won't use PayPal.
Can't blame them. You don't mess with a man's money.
Doke says, if you buy 2 dragons with Fiery Breath sets, that second set and dragon parted out may pay for both if timed right. Yeah, I mean, if the timing is right, there's going to be definitely some money to be made off of these dragons for people. Oh, yeah, so they also did some Kickstarters, too. They did a AWOX Kickstarter. That's awesome. Yeah, it's cool to compare, and you can see those big boosts at the end, and it gives you some perspective.
Yeah.
VDog says, if you place an order for the dragon within the last hour, but there is technical issues on the site for some people, do you think Forestman will work with you if you contact them right away?
I wouldn't wait till the last hour.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't wait. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever the day is. That's when it's going on the card. So I don't see why someone would take that chance, unless you're like me and you're just an idiot and you forget.
Brock. Okay. So, like I said, 135. I had to remember we usually have 4 rows here. We're on to 5 rows now. We're gonna have to do something different pretty soon. But and it's in order. So Braku Prime is the earliest member still here, going back we're hitting almost 2 years with memberships now. And then over all the way on the bottom right, Cyber Rat is the most recent. I feel like Cyber Rat was there earlier, but maybe renewed,
dropped off and renewed.
Dropped off and came back probably or something. Yeah. But so from top to bottom, left to right is the length of time.
Chris left for a while, so our sex appeal was gone. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Oh, Blake, sorry. You did a super chat. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. Did I get all these? Yeah, okay. So Wesley with the 10 memberships, and Blake, sorry, totally I had that other thing on the screen. I'm super happy with what's being offered. This is a Grail release. Go order now. Thank you, Team Horseman. Sorry that I didn't get to that while Jeremy was still here, Blake.
I love, we went a lot of years without having large items released because the manufacturers didn't think it was going to sell, didn't know how it was going to sell. And for all of the faults that Matty Collector had with the white screen of doom and all that kind of stuff, they really, I think, again, they made a lot of mistakes, but they were the first ones to do that model and do what they did. And when that Gray Skull came out in 2013, I feel like that's what kind of opened the door when they saw how successful that could be. And then more and more companies felt comfortable. I mean, I've got a freaking battle cat bigger than my dog. We've got this dragon coming. And it's just so cool to see all that, Hasbro does a Titan every year for Transformers. And, the Super 7 did a Snake Mountain to complement that. They did a Cat's Lair. And it's amazing to see. We live in such an awesome time to be collectors. There's so much cool stuff out there.
For sure. Jacob Forna, haven't been too active in the community streams the past few months due to life stuff. Well, I hope your life stuff's getting better. Just wanted to say the coverage has been stellar, Bill. I'm waiting until Friday to go all in. It's making the 4K. Also, Jacob, are you going to Shop the Curiosity? I hope that's the last time I saw you was last year at Shop the Curiosity. I hope to see you there again. which is it. I think it's the first week of May. First Saturday. I think it's a Saturday show. And yeah, sorry, Blake. Thanks for understanding. Yeah, Cloud's got life stuff. Yep. Hope everybody's getting by right now. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, and there's, just a lot. All right. So, okay. So May 10th is Shop the Curiosity. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. And then the super chats from last week. Thank you, Wesley, Hedgehog, Jesse, and William.
Okay, so Bill, let me ask you. I want to ask you this before we move on from the dragon, because this is something I'm curious about. Something you guys said. I know you said it half jokingly, but there was some serious in there too. You know the community, the Legions community, way better than I do, and obviously, it's a very passionate community. It's a community that has the means to spend money, and they're not afraid to spend money. Do you think if this thing were to hit, obviously the 4,000 goes as far as 45, approaching that 5 number. Do you think a big skeleton or something like that would be in the offing, or another big thing like that in the next year or two? What do you get from the community? Do they spend that money twice?
I think most likely it would be another dragon that would be not a skeleton like neck. Maybe they do a skeleton at some point. They did announce that one of the realms, like one of the pillars or something like that, is the underworld. So
right.
I mean, you never know. But they did say if they make another dragon, that they will reuse some of the parts. They'll never just repaint this one, but you'll have a different head, maybe some different kinds of things, like maybe the wings are different. But it would, they would. I think they would totally like do another dragon. I don't know that they would do one before this one ships. I think that they would probably wait till this one ships, though. Okay, here's a good thought. If BBTS carries dragons, I'd say 750 minimum, absolutely minimum.
Oh yeah,
I'd say 550. Yeah, I at least 750. Probably more though. Because these retailers are going to have to essentially, like, basically the way I gather is that the dragon is essentially being offered to us in what would have been, if they hadn't been able to do retail, it's what would have been wholesale price. So they can't, like, that would be wholesale price for the retailers too. So like they would be paying the 550. Yeah. And so then they're paying the shipping. Like
they got to store it. They got storage to pay for.
Yeah. I mean, anybody buys a dragon right now, it's going to cost over $650 for a lot of people. And if you're outside of the United States, forget about it. It's like just the dragon's like $800 and more for some people.
That overseas shit.
To the Cat's Lair original price. Yeah. Cat's Lair is $1,000. 40% more. Yeah. Okay, so let's get the giveaway going. So we're giving away. Let me pull myself down.
I feel like we opened the show with the important stuff. Now everything else is just kind of whatever.
Now it's time for fun. Okay. No, that was fun. So we're giving away.
I love getting
Biomaster like that. Mutant in the vampire colors. It's awesome. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention. Like I don't have any of the vampire color stuff, but just seeing it in hand, I now want it. I do have some Biomaster stuff, but I don't have anything in the vampire colors. Excuse me. So the giveaway is gonna be. Hang on, let me just double check here. All right, let me. So, like I said, this is basically sponsored by Cameron Miller, and so we are going to go with Miller Time. Let me pull this here, share this instead, and pull this. So Miller Time, put hashtag Miller Time in the chat. Hopefully everything's working. Miller time, everybody, for the Glyos Biomasters. There we go. Biomasters mutant. Cool. All right, so these are collecting, and we will get into our kind of standard news stuff here.
Not nearly as big a week as last week.
No. There's some really big things, but there's just not as many.
Not much,
which is
not
good
because
we spent a lot of time talking about the dragon. So okay, we got everybody with the Miller time. Is Cameron Miller? Cameron Miller, speak up if you are here. I don't know that I remember his name coming up in chats.
I didn't see it.
Jacob says, breaking news, we now have a Mythic Legions Doctor Doom tribute figure. Well, yeah. Maybe it's because you got here late. We revealed it on here. Okay. All right, Miller time. Okay, so let's bring the news back up. All right, Larry, take us through this. This is
oh boy, yeah, this is
classic
some
right here.
really cool stuff. So they Hasbro released some more digital renders of some upcoming figures for later in the year. So the first one is version 3 Cobra Commander, the armored Cobra Commander. In the comic book, it was one of the Fred Krinsman guardsmen who thought he had killed Cobra Commander. They used this in the cartoon during the Deke series that took place after the movie, and he comes with a little iguana from their first 5-episode miniseries to relaunch after the movie was called Operation Dragonfly. And I if I remember correctly, he had devolved all the way into a snake. And I can't remember if the iguana was some stage of them re-evolving him into a human. I'd have to go back and watch. I really cannot remember, but it had something to do with that TV series. And what I really like, well, one, they did a great job with the armor. That was always one of my favorite Cobra Commanders, because they did a few more versions after this that most people don't remember. The original with the silver face was always my favorite. I never thought the hooded Cobra Commander in the figure line looked that great. I always liked him in the comic, but I always loved this guy. And what they've done here that's really cool is the bonus head has the serpentine, the reptile eyes. So it gives it a definite different look. So they've done a great job of satisfying the comic book fans, satisfying the figure fans, satisfying the cartoon fans, the folks that enjoyed that last season when it switched studios. So pretty excited about this. And this is going to be just a standard release. I think they're $24.99 now. They've not upped them yet, but with world economic events being what they are, who knows what this will actually be when they come up for pre-order. So we'll wait and see.
Steph is here, and yeah, we do need to we're way overdue for our next Glyos episode, and we're gonna line that up at some point for sure. And I did want to answer Kirby. I had seen briefly that, but I didn't have the time to include it. But the Nacelle Wave 2 looks good. I feel like there's a little more in there for me. But yeah, they are on my radar, and I just haven't pre-ordered anything yet. But I have they gone up for pre-order on anything other than direct nacelle, or are they still just exclusive to that site? Is a question I have. I need to find a place to order those. Okay, the iguana is a pet of Naga hide. And
okay, all right.
Serpentor and mutates Serpentor into the iguana.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it had something to do with that show. And the other thing is that show took, the original show took your standard, your Duke and Snake Eyes and Scarlet and Flint, and all the folks that had been mainstays in the Toylanta and the comics. But the one thing this show did try to do was highlight different characters, and Road Pig and Nagahide and Metalhead had just huge roles as key bad guys in this show, almost like Destro Baroness Major Blood did in the original series. So yeah, that's a good catch on that. I had forgotten about that until you mentioned it.
All right, and then
the Cobra Claw. Yeah,
this
was always one of my favorites as a kid, because it was small. I could take it places. If I wanted to take a toy with me, I could strap Cobra Commander or a Cobra Officer to that thing, and off we go. I always put it with Cobra Commander because he used it in the comic. This is way more detailed than anything we ever had as a kid. And they're giving us another female trooper here. I think we'd gotten one with the ferret. And what I like about what they're doing here, this is perfect for troop building. They're doing the same thing that they had done. I think the Televipers had gotten 2 heads with the trouble bubble. With this, you're getting 4 heads. So you could troop build this and fleet build this, because anytime that you saw the Cobra Claw on the show, you always saw way more than one. So
cool. Okay, so I think just still on their site, but they open up to international orders. I haven't bought in yet, but they are looking so promising. Yeah, they do look good.
Okay, so this is Major Blood. Some of this is going to be reuse of parts. It's a repaint. Some of it's going to be new parts. It looks like it's hard to tell if they've improved that backpack, because those rockets always came out of the backpack. But it looks to be largely a repaint of the one that was so hard to find, the attack on Viper Island that was exclusive at Target. This is going to be a retro carded release. So they're continuing the theme of taking those super popular characters, giving us a retro carded release that's a little closer to the original. This one, however, is not. The red on the armor is new. I like it. But as far as I can tell, they're continuing that trend of making them different enough from the original release that it is justified in buying. And I'll be picking it up, because I feel like these have so far been a better representation of the toys that we had as a kid. And then, Monkey Wrench. We need another Dreadnought. So now we've got the original 4. There's a rumor that the Thunder Machine's coming. I think it's more than a rumor at this point. So we'll have Thrasher in there. So we will have all of the original Dreadnoughts. There were some odds and ends that came out later in the line, but we've got Torch Ripper and Buzzer. We got Zartan. We got Road Pig, Xandar and Zorana, Monkey Wrench coming. And when we get Thrasher, that'll be it. Now, they're doing something here. They're doing with a lot of the figures, like with Darkline we saw last week. They had an alternate head that we had not seen in the past. They're doing the same thing here. This is something they didn't have in the line. It wasn't in the comic book, and I don't remember if it was in the TV show or not. But other than that, this thing just looks spot on. It looks fantastic. It'll
be interesting to see how they pull off the ripped jeans paint.
Yeah, it will. And Hedgehog, yes. Zanzibar, thank you. Yes, the Dreadnought Pirate with his swamp skiff. We got to get Zanzibar in there. I always loved his design. Snake Eyes version 4. This is one that I never saw on the shelf. I never saw it in real life. I only ever saw it in the comic book. And it's weird to me that they skipped version 3. They gave us 2 to start, then went back and gave us 1. We had several versions of 2. We had several versions of the Commando. They skipped version 3, which was one of probably my second favorite beside the Commando. And then this is a great amalgamation of the Commando and the Ninja. I always liked this guy just because he looks so different than all the other Snake Eyes. He's not all black or black and silver. He's got some color in there. And I think the red and the blue really punched the figure up. I can't wait to get this guy, because he's one I always wanted as a kid and never had it.
And then moving on from G.I. Joe to Transformers.
So this is, as Hasbro continues to do their the MPG line, as we talked about before, the Masterpiece line technically ended with Masterpiece 60, which was Genrai. And concurrently, they had the MPG line, 1 through 8 were the train bots. And then you've had a couple of repaints, Diaclone repaints of Hoist and of Ironhide and of Trailbreaker. And then coming into this, we had God Genrai, who I picked up and showed you guys a couple weeks ago. This is going to be Optimus Prime version 4.0, and this was going to be a little bit different. That original release back in 2003 was just, what can we do as a masterpiece? I feel like the second version was pretty much a perfect, if the toy had been a perfect Transformer, that was it. And version 3 was a perfect cartoon representation, the Masterpiece 44. They're calling it, it's MPG 17 Optimus Prime Style Gen. And the way that they're talking about this is it's going to be an amalgamation of different versions of Prime. You can see some toy influence in there. But then when we look at the accessories, he's got the Matrix like in the cartoon, but then he's got the hand axes from the Beyithyrr. He's got the shield and the axe from War for Cybertron. So this is just kind of an amalgamation of all the primes we've had up to this point. They said what their goal is to continue to improve transformation, playability, what they can do with the design and the technology. This one, so the standard size with Masterpiece 1, Masterpiece 10, and Masterpiece 44 were all in that 10 to 12 inch realm. Masterpiece 60, which was Genrai, that was closer to 7 or 8 inches. So the God Genrai was more of the 12, almost 13 inches. This guy's coming in at 9.5 inches tall. So it looks like it's still going to be kind of that standard size, but with some redesign. A couple of other things that we have heard, just to give you an idea of what else is coming out with the Masterpiece stuff. They're going to do MPG 16, which is a black version of the God Genrai. But Masterpiece 18 is supposed to be Hauler, who was the green crane we only saw in one episode of the first season. Is going to be a hoist repaint, or I'm sorry, a grapple repaint. But then they've also announced Rat Trap. So they're continuing with Beast Wars. So it seems like Masterpiece is taking on almost a universe or a generations type approach with doing stuff from Japan, doing stuff from Beast Wars. They're doing repaints of old, what was the line? It was before it was Transformers. My mind just went blank. The old Takara line from Japan, Diaclone.
Diaclone.
Yeah, so they've got some stuff that it equivocates to Diaclone stuff. So they're doing a lot of everything, and this is its own thing. Like this relates to nothing. So
kind of reminds me a little bit of like New Eternia, like the Masterverse New Eternia.
Yeah,
stuff.
It does. Kind of the best of all worlds. We're combining everything. So, and then obviously the when we get Hauler, it's just going to be a grapple repaint. So that's going to be more G1 true. So I really feel like they're going to do a little bit of everything moving forward. But this is going to go up for pre-order tomorrow. It actually goes up on April 4th. It's going to be around $160 US. It's 24,200 yen. So with the exchange rate, that's going to end up being around $160, which for a almost 10-inch Masterpiece figure, I feel like is a really good. I mean, that's a sweet spot. That's a good price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this will be an import only kind of situation.
Yeah. So that's, because everything I've seen has been in Japanese. So look to Big Bad will get it in. I'm sure it'll be available on Amazon Japan, Robot Kingdom, Chosen Prime. So there'll be a lot of places that you can get it, and some places you can put down. I think Nerdy's getting it. He's gotten in all the MPG stuff. So if he gets this in, I'm just going to order it through him. Now, when you buy from him, you pay up front, but that's fine with me. I won't have a surprise in 8 months when it comes out. It's already paid for.
Yep. And speaking of imports, we have the InArt 112, which they were originally going to call this line Morphig, but I think they've kind of just laid into the InArt brand. And I think they may have abandoned the brand Morphig. But yeah, so we have their Dark Knight Rises Batman. These are Trevor photos, by the way, 1/6 shooters.
Of course they are. They're awesome.
This photo here, like just one thing before we kind of get into this, like the boot, it looks like cloth, like leather, like a cloth leather. It doesn't look like plastic. It like this figure looks incredible.
You watched Robo's review, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He talked about that. Just what a great job they did with the texturing and the details.
Yep. There's a lot of reviews. They sent these out to a ton of people. So if you have any questions about it, like there's a lot out there known. It's got a removal. The cape is removable. So I think there's the potential maybe for customizers to give it a wired cape, because the cape, it looks great. The cape looks awesome, but it's just a draped, layered kind of cape.
That being said, I'm really impressed with how fine that cloth is and how
Yeah,
well it lays compared to the Mafex and the Figure Arts.
It lays really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's got to be very thin and very heavy to do that. You
Yeah.
know, like a very thin, dense kind of like cloth. I think the likeness is like the highlight of this figure. That has a lot of really good going for it. This likeness is really good. We'll see. I mean, so here's the thing: these figures that all the reviewers got was a kind of a first batch, and then they're mass producing this thing. I mean, all of the pre-orders are still open. Like that, you can go order it on any of these sites, including I think direct from them. I think you can still order it direct from InArt. You can't order it from the USA direct from InArt, but if you're in one of the countries they sell to, I think it's still there. So the question is, can they pull this off on a mass scale? Like they're going to sell a ton of these, thousands of these. So like, can they pull it off? We'll see. But I mean, just look at that. It's incredible.
So the first hot toy I ever got was DX12, which was the Dark Knight Rises Batman. That face, that sculpting, that paintwork, that's on par. Like I said, I don't have a ton of hot toys. I have a handful, but that's on par with anything that I own that they've done. That's so impressive to do that kind of work at that scale. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, and the retail price, if you have access to ordering directly from them, is $50 and $70, I believe. Yeah. Like $50 for the regular and then 70. So you have the regular that comes with everything except for the alternate head and the stand, and then 70. So another $20 for the head and the stand.
I feel like you're going to make.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that additional, whatever you pay additional to order it from someone who imports it, you're gonna make that up if you pay to ship it yourself anyway. So what do we do? 90?
Honestly, yeah, it was 90 shipped. So honestly, I was talking to somebody in Australia who ordered it from them, and they said the shipping was 30. So they like 30 US. So they like it wasn't like cheap shipping when you ordered.
It's like $200 Australian. Jeez.
So right, but it was 30 US shipping. So if you take that on top of the 70, that's 100. So I don't think there would have been really much savings if we had access to ordering it direct anyways.
No, I don't think so.
Not in the US. Maybe if you're in Hong Kong or you're in Asia or something, but not here. So debating on the deluxe for this, if it were a little taller, it would be a must-have. Yeah, that's one thing. It's like it's figure art size. It's it's like I have my Batman collection is primarily Mezco, so this is not really gonna fit in with my Batman collection. It's gonna be its own thing. I guess I'll start a little InArt collection, but
I've got so many Batmans from so many different lines. He'll find a home somewhere.
This is the first time my wife has ever said, "I want that." That just may be the entry point for her into my hobby. I feel like I feel like I could get my wife to buy a Chris Hemsworth figure. Like I feel like if I showed her a really good Thor, she probably would be a little interested. Okay, and then so I did. If you want to see these, if you want to actually click these links on my Facebook page in the Facebook group and in my community tab on my YouTube channel, I have all this stuff. So basically, through the recommendation of Chris, I'm pretty sure he ordered it. I assume he did, but he recommended 1/6 kit. He buys a lot from them. It was $90 free shipping, and you kind of go down the list and see Spec Fix Shop had it 90 free shipping, VC Toys Box 93 free shipping, and then you get into the ones that are calculated at release. Bomb Busby 75 plus shipping, probably going to come out to be around 90, like so maybe $15 to $20 shipping. Same thing with these other ones, Pop Collectibles 83. I guess you got to use the code Kazuma to get that price. So it's like 86, and then you use the code and you get like $3 off or something. Toys Metaverse 83 plus shipping, also calculated at release, and KG Hobby 91. And then Gundammit has it up there, but they still don't have the price. they just have it up for pre-order without the price, which is hilarious. But Now she's mad at me for live commenting that. Oh, she's watching with you, huh? Oh, so she saw it while watching. Okay, I get it. That's funny. Hello, hello, Mrs. Zaman. Let's see. I showed my wife the Reborn frogs that went up, and I got her opinion on which one to pre-order. Those are some handsome amphibians, so I kind of got her blessing on it. We all just want to be included in things, right? Yeah, no 5K toys. I heard, and this is just secondhand, but I heard they're not getting it. But it might just be secondhand. I don't know. Maybe they will. All right, so that's that. That thing's sweet. We'll see if they can pull it off, right? Like they sent out a small production run to all these people, and we'll see if they can pull off the final production run, especially at this price. And it says Q2, which I also don't. I also am kind of like, a little suspicious of that. But some of the sites do say like Q2 through Q4. So there might be multiple batches. There's a few like unknowns still on this, like what's the batch situation and you know, how good is it going to look on a mass scale. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but it's been a week now, so I feel like they probably would have it by now. Okay. And then Glyos. So the little guy I showed uses a lot of the parts from the guy on the right here. So they did a Manglor's drop on Toyfinity. So you got the Manglor's now. That was the most recent Glyos drop. And then we have a Glyos drop coming on Saturday from Angry Hedgehog Cappy Space. That is the Colossi of Chaos. Those are the robots that are like a little, they're kind of like the size of these. Like they're kind of like the 4-inch robots basically from Angry Hedgehog. So that is 4 p.m. Saturday. I'll have to kind of remember to check that out. They showed another little teaser. I think red and black with the skull is sort of the colorway here, which almost reminds me of this a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to be the same like vampire colorway or if it's something else. But just something to be on the lookout for if you're into Glyos on Saturday. Oh, I did put them in here. These are the little teaser. They just little corners of the figures here. But on the left, you can see the skull there, right? So cool. We'll see what those look like. I have like all of the one, like my favorite ones of these are the Restructors. They're like the yellow and black, like construction looking ones. They're freaking amazing. I have a bunch of that stuff. So good. Zaman, I managed to dodge the Glyos itch at Toylanta. Not sure if I'll be able to continue to resist. Come over to the Glyos side.
Problem with those is once you're having your hand and you're playing with them, they're just fun. They have, you talk about food having good mouthfeel. These things have good hand feel. They're fun to play with in your hands. Yeah,
it's just a kind of plastic that's just so easy and just nice to like mess around with.
It's nice to handle.
It's the same. It's very different from Lego, but it's a similar kind of thing where it's like this very nice consistency across all of them, and they all fit together super well. It's nice. Formo Toys, they announced the Frazetta license. Now, if you're not familiar with Formo, they do the Legends of Agendor, which is a line of figures that is in the classic 5.5-inch He-Man type body. Actually, I have one over here. And they are the basic articulation. But they're like this figure was one of the coolest things I brought home from Legions Con. It's just such nice quality. It feels so good.
Can you put that on the big screen?
Yeah, hang on. Let me do it like this.
No, not that clown. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It looks like you remember the when they were doing the KO He-Man stuff back in the day, and you would have like an odd colored body with odd colored mismatch. That's got a really feels like merman armor and the spike ore mace, and of course a totally different head. But that's really, really cool.
Yeah, this is it's Oni. It's an Oni. I don't know. I forget the name. It might even just be Oni. But yeah, it's so nice. And there's another one. There's like I'm not gonna like collect this line per se, but there's another.
When did that piece actually come out?
What's that?
When did that piece actually come out? Yeah, when was it?
Maybe about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Like you can still find, these are still, I think, on their site. This I believe this particular one was wave 1, and they've got at least a second wave, or like a 1.5, and then their next wave has this cool green forest guy that I want to get. But
gotcha.
I just wanted to point out that they're doing some Frazetta stuff in this format, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. It kind of looks like a vinyl figure. Like it kind of has a little bit of that, like, independent art toy kind of quality to it. They put out some dragons recently. It's a cool line. I can't really get super into it, but I have this one and I definitely want that green foresty looking guy. He's super cool. And then the final little bit of news, actually, let's do the drawing and then we'll just, because that final bit might bring up some conversation. So let's pull this up here. I gotta bring this down. Let's spin the wheel. Reminder, if your name is drawn, email me at podcast@dorklair.com. And if you can email me right away, I'll probably get it out. I'll pack it up tonight, and I'll probably ship it tomorrow morning. If not, it'll go out Saturday morning. Onitor, that's who it is. Onitor, that's his name. Okay. Miller time, get the last few in here. And then we do have one more quick little news item that I wanted to point out. Last call, everybody. We got 73. This is the Glyos. This is the mutant. Vampire mutant. Oh, Larry, did you pick up any Necronominus figures?
No, I did not. I've got too much money going out this month between Lyle Kaiser going down, and I saw some of these the Power of the Age of the Prime stuff coming out early, and I had the different Hogan stuff. Yeah, I couldn't get on the pre-order. There are a couple that I like that I may look at grabbing when they come in, but like there's some stuff coming down the road. And I don't think this is coming out till Q1 of next year. You remember the lion that we looked at, the big chunky lion?
Yeah,
with different.
Yeah,
that's already been pre-ordered. That's definitely going to be a due whenever those go up. But that's as far ahead.
Pre-ordered a couple other things, I think, right, throughout the last couple.
Somewhat, you know what? I get to the point where I can't remember until I get the shipping notification. Yeah. Like if it's something like Transformers or something like that where I'm all in, then I know when those are G.I. Joe, I know when those are coming. But like with Legions, I just pick and choose, and sometimes I'll forget. Like I remember one time they had an in-stock sale, and I bought a bunch of stuff. Couldn't remember what I got until it got here, and I was like, "Oh, this is great," So I don't know a lot of times till I get the shipping notice.
It is. I agree. It's the best wave so far. It's awesome.
They just, every release is better and better. If you look back at my shelf, from my earliest figures were like the Hordak tribute, the She-Ra tribute, Eagleus, and then you go Adamor, and then you go through to the things that I've picked up over the years, all the way to what's the big blue guy's name from last year? Arakagor, yeah. That was easily one of my, and it's not even a line I collect, and that was one of my favorite figures from last year. So every time they do something, it gets a little bit better. They're something else.
I agree with the Timesmith. Gideon is the star of the wave for me.
That's the problem with them.
For me, it's the figure to beat this year.
The thing about them is as beautiful as they are on screen, and they are when you get them in the hand, like even with 1/6's photography, nothing does these things justice until they're in your hands, because not only have I never been disappointed by one, I've never not been, wow, I got more than I expected.
Yeah, the photography is amazing, but the thing that doesn't happen as much when you're looking at a photo is you're looking at the whole figure, kind of like when you look at a photo, you're kind of looking at the whole figure. When you have it in hand, you're looking at all the little details, and it starts to, it's like it's outshining all of my other stuff. Totally. Yeah.
It really can. I mean, you can get some sensory overload going over this stuff. Like again, Arachagore, usually stuff will sit on my desk for a week or two before it goes to the room. So I like to look at it, pick it up, play with it, admire it, study it. And Arachagore sat on my desk for a good month before it went on the shelf. And you can see it's not even out of the office; it's in the office.
All right, we're gonna spin it for the Biomasters again. Thank you to Cameron Miller for sending this over. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good luck. Who's it gonna be? Tyann Ponette. All right. So email me at podcast@dorklair.com and I will get that out to you. Yeah, sensory overload. And it's like Jeremy was saying earlier, let me pull this down. Like he was saying, like, companies, Glyos is one of them, where it's like there's a lot of unpainted plastic. That's the color. But with Four Horsemen, even if it's a solid color, it's painted. So it's usually got some kind of finish to it. And then like beyond that, there's just so much paint. It's just every figure is covered with paint. So, yeah. All right. So the last thing I just wanted to mention was, so Fresh Monkey Fiction had just announced today, like literally right before we went live, they announced that, or maybe it was earlier, I just saw it right before we went live, but that their wave 2 of the long box heroes is canceled. This is a Kickstarter that was it was active Kickstarter, and it's because of the tariffs, because they would have had to change mid, or maybe they would have done it through like the shipping charge that you get later, but they would have had to like charge like $40 each for these figures in the end. And they realized that they said literally in their post, like, these figures aren't worth $40. So we can't sell them because we can't do it. So they had to, because of the tariffs. And you're seeing a lot of companies put out statements right now. So just kind of pay attention to what's going on in terms of like what your pre-orders are and what companies are doing and saying, because, there's a lot going on with the tariffs. 4-H has not talked about the tariffs. I like a company like Fresh Monkey is different than like a Four Horsemen. The Four Horsemen, they've been established for a long time. They have a very, they have a much less risky business model than a lot of companies. And I feel like they are a little more equipped to kind of like weather this storm than others. But I will not be I expect, unless things change, the prices for future things could probably go up. I don't think, they're gonna have to figure out how to probably eat the current stuff that's shipping, but eat the, absorb it, I guess is the better word for that. Yeah, Legendary posted that they are being affected, that they're gonna try to figure out a way to deal with it. But
even McFarlane, who as of anyone has done probably the best job of not raising prices over the years, even he said he's going to have to bump it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Beyithyrr tariff could be significant. I mean, we'll see where everything is by the time that ships. Like they have a lot of time to try to like recuperate that money that could have to go towards that when it ships. And then things, it's hard. That's so far out that like they can financially plan for it. But then I think it's really tough if you're small, if you're like a Kickstarter company. Like, thank God Matt Rodriguez got his stuff in like a week or a couple weeks ago, right? Like any of those small Kickstarters that are like delivering now, it could be rough. And if it's one that didn't charge you shipping up front, that might be how they have to deal with it. They might have to add it to your shipping fee on that. So, also pay attention to things that you've already paid shipping for versus what you haven't paid shipping for yet, especially when it comes to something that you've ordered from a US company that might be coming in on a ship to them. That's where stuff's going to get crazy. And as far as like buying something from an import site and it being mailed over. I don't exactly know how that's gonna. Yeah, by then the political things can change. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I just wanted to pull that up because it's a lot of chatter, a lot of unknowns, and a lot of just conversation going on right now.
I would just bear in mind that everything is fluid, and regardless of what your political leanings are, no one wants their legacy to be a trashed economy. And that's all I'm going to say. Yep. So I think that there's a lot of positioning. There's a lot of wrangling. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't think it's going to be much ado about nothing. I think there will be repercussions that come from it, but I don't, just based on, I'm way more plugged in than I should be, than is healthy. But like I said, I would just sit back and watch before, grabbing your Rorschach sign and walking around in the rain with the end is nigh.
Yeah. I just don't know. There's just too many unknowns right now. And
exactly.
Like this could be resolved by the time Beyithyrr is ready. In 2 years, Forstmann will be manufacturing in the U.S. Right. Nope. If this happens and it's like a real push to like bring toy manufacturing to the U.S., it'll all end. But it's not like things are probably not going to go as extreme as some people are saying.
No, and it sounds
awesome as some people are saying.
It sounds wonderful to say we're going to bring manufacturing back, but at the end of the day, everything is a maneuver, everything is a chess move, and at the end of the day, all it is it's going to end up being a leverage. It's going to end up being a tool to leverage specifically some of the inequities in our trade with China. And I think the rest of it's window dressing. I remember, if you remember the movie Catch Me If You Can, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, when he talks about his dad's talking about the Yankees, is like, they're always staring at the pinstripes. A lot of this stuff is pinstripes.
Yeah, I tend to more agree with Ben here, but I don't want to get too deep into the political side of everything. So we'll kind of leave it at that.
Sure.
But anyway, we'll be back in 2 weeks. So
that'll be 3 in a row for me.
Trevor's got a point here. Just one more thing. It's a great excuse for everybody to raise prices, right?
That's exactly what will happen. And if things go back to quote unquote normal, they won't lower them. He's exactly right about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, So this weekend is going to be amazing. There's going to be a telethon, a Beyithyrr the Dragon telethon that Curtis Ackerman, I think, is kind of spearheading. And it's a bunch of the different podcasts, like Trevor and Nate and I from the Legions Lounge are going to be involved in it. I think ours is Sunday night from 7 to the end, 7 to 11. And it's going to be with Shooting the Shelf. I'm also going to be on New to Mythics, Greg Schmerber's show Saturday morning. So I'm going to bookend my Saturday with like early morning and late night. I'm going to try to get up I'm going to try to be down here during the first one, like during the one before it. It starts, I think it starts Friday night, or I'm sorry, no, Sunday morning. I think it starts Saturday night and then it runs down through all night Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then there'll be a show that's ending at 7. I'm going to try to like watch some of that show before hopping on Greg's show. And then I'll get off of that. And then I do think I'm going to have to take a break during the night show because it's the season finale of White Lotus. And, my wife and I have to watch that. So like from 9 to 10. So the thing's 7 to 11. So from 9 to 10, I'm going to go watch White Lotus.
And whatever you do, as was said earlier, don't pull a Larry and think 1156 or you'll be SOL.
Right. Dragon trivia and card prizes, gift card prizes. Legends and Liquor with Dan Hu talking about the Dragons Sunday at 1. And also something that's going to happen during this whole thing is Jeremy is going to do at least hourly updates so that page on the Four Horsemen site that gets updated every morning, it'll shift, I guess maybe Sunday morning, it'll shift over to like hourly ones. So is it like, yeah, it's Sunday all day, right? Or is it all day Saturday? I don't even know anymore. I got to go look at the schedule. Saturday night into Sunday night. Yeah, there you go. That's what it is.
Cool.
All right. So, yeah.
What's your final over under? What's your final number? What's it going to be? Call it
4,300. 4,300.
All right. I'm going to say $1.
The math.
I'm kidding.
The math I did today, kind of like trying to extrapolate the way it's been going the last few days, which has been kind of a daily run of like exactly double of what it would have been in the like reciprocal days at the beginning week. So if it keeps doing that, it's going to be, I think I calculated 4,300 or so. Bill,
Excellent.
did you review Defenders of Eden yet? I only reviewed one that was a loaner to me. So Matt sent me Tomas Ryder, and I reviewed it and then I sent it back to him. So I don't have any in hand right now, but Matt did message me today and it sounds like he's shipping mine very soon. So I'll be jumping back on reviews for that. I'll also be getting Stavros too. That shipped, so that's coming too. All right. So everybody, thanks for watching, and until next time, may the force be with you.
Follow me into the door.